Just imagine a future where like your values and experiences, everything about you, it's visible, projected like a digital aura for everyone to see.
Yeah.
That's just one of the wild concepts we're going to be diving into today. We've got these plans, notes, all centered around a tech startup, aura of intelligence, and this whole social movement called joyful, responsible abundance.
And these aren't just, some far-fetched ideas here. We're talking about actual concrete plans.
Yeah.
These documents lure out like a whole roadmap from building a global community to developing new technologies. They even talk about preparing for like cosmic events, massive stuff.
It's a lot to process.
Yeah.
So maybe we should start with the basics. Like what even is aura of intelligence and what does joyful responsible abundance, what does that even mean?
Okay, so aura of intelligence. It's this idea of a digital aura, right?
Right.
But it's not just any aura. It visualizes your values, your experiences. Think beyond like surface level labels.
Right, right.
Imagine your aura could show like your deep passion for, I don't know, environmentalism or your dedication to, let's say, social justice.
Yeah, that's powerful when you think about how we perceive each other, how we interact. It could really change things.
Exactly. And then you have joyful, responsible abundance. It's more of a philosophy,
Right.
a vision for a future where we're using technology ethically and it benefits everyone.
So we're talking about global well-being, environmental responsibility, a future where like resources and opportunities, they're abundant for everyone.
Exactly. You got it. It's a future where technology actually empowers people and helps us all feel more connected.
That's incredibly ambitious. Are there any real-world examples, things we can relate to kind of wrap our heads around this?
Let me see. Think about movements like effective altruism. People are using evidence and reason to figure out how to best help others.
Right.
Or even something like Burning Man. It emphasizes community, self-expression, and like a rejection of consumerism.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting how this vision seems to take inspiration from both tech and social movements. But how realistic is it to actually achieve this kind of global transformation?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Oh.
And the documents, they actually dive deep into the practical side of things.
Okay.
They talk about a tech stack that includes AI, blockchain, even virtual reality.
Okay. So like the building blocks are there.
They outline how all these technologies could be used to build this Aura Builder app, create a decentralized platform for global collaboration, and even develop educational games, which is cool.
Okay, so let's try to break down these technological building blocks here. We've got AI, we've got blockchain, virtual reality, and each of these, they're complex on their own. How do they envision these technologies all working together?
Well, they propose using AI to power this Aura Builder app. So it allows users to create and customize their digital auras, giving people the power to define and express themselves authentically.
So it's not like a social media profile where it's like this curated version of ourselves. This is more real, more raw.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. And that ties into the whole blockchain aspect as well. We're
Yeah.
talking about building a decentralized platform
Right.
using blockchain for global collaboration, even governance.
Okay, and for those of us who might not be, totally familiar with blockchain, can you unpack that a little bit? How would that work?
Sure, sure. So blockchain, think of it as a digital ledger. It's distributed across tons of computers. And what it does is it allows for secure and transparent transactions without needing like a central authority.
Okay.
So in this case, they're talking about using blockchain to create a more democratic, a more participatory system for managing this technology.
So it's less about like a single company or government controlling everything. It's more about collective ownership.
Yeah,
That's a pretty big shift from how technology is usually governed.
absolutely. And then we get to virtual reality, and they're talking about using VR to create these really immersive educational experiences, make learning more engaging, make it more accessible for everyone.
It's interesting. It's like they're taking these cutting edge technologies and combining them with these really humanistic goals.
Right,
It's not just about, tech for tech's sake.
right.
It's about using technology to empower people, to foster these connections, create a more equitable and abundant world.
Exactly. And what's really important here is the documents emphasize responsible use of these technologies.
Okay, yeah.
They talk about data privacy concerns, the potential for misuse,
Right.
the need for ethics, careful consideration every step of the way.
Yeah, because with great technological power comes great responsibility.
100%.
Yeah.
They get that these technologies are powerful tools. They can
Yeah.
be used for good or for bad. So they're really calling for a conscious ethical approach to how we develop and implement all of this.
That's refreshing to see that kind of that foresight, that consideration. So we've got digital auras, we've got this utopian social movement, cutting edge tech, strong ethical framework. Where where do they propose to even begin to implement such an ambitious vision? So where do they even begin with a vision this big, this global?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. The documents, they point to this place north of Stradbroke Island. Stratty, I think they call it.
Strati.
Yeah, as a potential testing ground, a place to try out this whole joyful, responsible abundance thing.
Okay, Strati, that's the island off the coast of Queensland, Australia, right?
It's the one.
Known for its beaches, the wildlife, pretty laid back vibe. How does that fit in with this whole high tech vision?
Right, so they're not just talking about the scenery, although, yeah, it's probably a plus. Stratty, it's got some unique characteristics that actually align well with this vision.
Okay.
For example, they talk about these rich mineral sands on Stratty.
Right, right. They're mined there, aren't they?
They are, but they're talking about using them for something else too, like a resource for tech development, specifically for making computer chips.
Wait, hold on. Computer chips from sand. How does that even work?
It's pretty complicated, more than we can unpack here.
Right.
But essentially, they're saying these sands, they have what's needed to produce like specialized computer chips, really, really durable ones.
So instead of relying on these global supply chains, they're talking about local sourcing, production, everything.
Yeah, exactly. They want Stratty to be this model for sustainable technology.
Okay.
Local materials,
Right.
renewable energy, the whole package.
Okay, and speaking of renewable energy, how are they planning to power this high-tech island, this community?
Right? So they get into all these different sources. Solar, obviously, wind power. They even talk about like wave energy.
Wow.
And get this, they want to use AI to manage it all. Like optimize these energy grids, make sure everything's running smoothly.
So they're going for complete energy independence. No more fossil fuels.
That's the goal, which
Yeah.
is, it's ambitious, even for a small island.
Yeah.
But it fits with their whole sustainability, self-sufficiency thing. They see Stratty as this model for how communities can like really thrive, but minimize their impact on the environment at the same time.
It's a delicate balance.
For sure.
So we've got the tech side, we've got the energy, but what about the people? How do they see this community actually functioning, like on a social level?
Well, they emphasize community building a lot.
Okay.
They're talking about using technology to connect people, to make communication easier, to create a more inclusive society where everyone has a say.
Okay, so how would that actually work? Like, can you give me some concrete examples?
Sure. Imagine like a transportation system, right?
Okay.
But it's all autonomous vehicles, electric, of course, and it's all coordinated by this central AI.
So no more traffic jams, no more searching for parking. You just hop in your self-driving car and off you go.
Exactly. But it goes beyond just convenience.
Okay.
Imagine that same AI. It's also keeping track of wildlife.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Making sure the cars don't run into any animals. It's about creating a balance between technology, humans, nature, all of it.
It's interesting how they're weaving technology into like every aspect of life, but in a way that seems to prioritize well-being, sustainability. It's a very different approach.
Right, and that's really key here. Technology, it's not inherently good or bad. It's all about how we choose to use it.
Yeah.
And they're proposing a very different way of using it, putting people first, basically.
Right.
Prioritizing the planet.
It's an optimistic outlook, that's
Yeah.
for sure. But we have to remember these are just plans.
Right.
How do they actually propose to go from, blueprints to reality?
Okay, so that's where the details get really interesting.
Okay.
They've got this whole multi-phased approach.
Okay.
And it starts with building up Stratty,
Okay.
like a state-of-the-art research center.
Mm.
attract the best and brightest,
Right.
a global education center to share all their findings. They even talk about ecotourism, show off these sustainable technologies.
So it's not just building a community, it's building a model,
Right.
like a proof of concept
Exactly.
that they can then share with the world.
That's the idea.
That's a bold plan, to say the least.
And they know it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
They talk about the need for funding, partnership.
First, yeah. Getting buy-in from the locals, from global institutions, everyone really. They even want to use blockchain again to manage the project's finances.
So everyone can see where the money's going.
Exactly. Transparency, accountability, all that.
It's really interesting how blockchain keeps coming up. It's not just about the technology, it's about the principles behind
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Decentralization, transparency, collective decision making.
It's about shifting power, making things more equitable.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. Sustainable tech, renewable energy, social innovation, blockchain. But what about some of those more unconventional concepts we touched on earlier?
Right.
The marriage groups, the plans for dementia care, the solar micronova preparations. How do those fit into this whole Strati experiment? Those were definitely some head scratchers, those concepts. So how do they fit into this whole vision? Where do we even begin? Well, it's clear these concepts are like really important to them. So their whole joyful, responsible abundance idea, even if they seem, I don't know, out there.
Right.
It's like they're trying to tackle these big complex issues, social issues, existential stuff, head on.
Okay, so let's start with these global marriage groups. That's definitely different from how we usually think about relationships.
Yeah, the documents describe it as a system for creating different kinds of relationships.
Yeah.
More fulfilling ones, maybe.
Okay.
And it goes beyond traditional, like, monogamy.
Uh-huh.
These groups, they would be formed around shared values
Okay.
and this commitment to, like, global interconnectedness.
So instead of just one partner, we're talking about expanding our circles of intimacy, commitment,
Mhm.
but on a global scale.
That's the idea.
That's a big shift.
It is. It challenges a lot of deeply ingrained, societal norms.
For sure.
And they talk about these groups being partly facilitated by AI algorithm,
Oh,
like matching people based on compatibility, shared values,
yeah.
even offering support, guidance.
So it's kind of like taking online dating and applying it to all of human relationships.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating concept, though I'm sure some people might find it a little strange.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on to a different application of technology here. Dementia care.
Right. This is where I think the documents really show how Aura of Intelligence could make a real difference in people's lives.
Okay.
They have this whole plan for dementia care. And it's not just about managing symptoms.
Right.
It's about using technology to actually improve quality of life for both patients and their caregivers.
We talked about using digital auras to help patients remember things. What else are they proposing?
Well, they talk about using AI to keep track of patients' emotions.
Okay.
Like, can the AI spot signs of anxiety,
Yeah.
distress,
Right.
and then can it intervene, maybe offer some kind of personalized help?
Yeah.
And then there's virtual reality. They think VR could create these immersive experiences, help patients reconnect with happy memories,
Okay.
maybe even engage in activities they enjoyed, even if, their physical abilities are limited.
So it's about going beyond just managing decline. It's about preserving, even enhancing a sense of self.
Exactly. Connection, purpose, all of that.
And it's not just focused on the patient.
Right.
You're also thinking about the caregivers.
Absolutely. They want to use AI to help caregivers too. Give them information, connect them with resources, even just offer some emotional support. It's a tough job.
It really is. Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room, or maybe the solar flare in the sky. How do they think we can prepare for something as potentially devastating as a solar micronova?
Yeah, it's the most extreme scenario they discuss. But it shows how much they're thinking about the long term, about building a future that can withstand anything.
So what are we talking about here? What kind of preparations?
Well, on a practical level, they talk about infrastructure, building things that can survive such an event,
Right.
creating sustainable food systems, energy systems, ones that could function independently, and preserving knowledge, making sure that even if the worst happens, future generations will have access to all the wisdom we've gained.
So it's not just about surviving. It's about rebuilding, making sure humanity can thrive again.
Yeah, and not just thrive, but learn from it.
Yeah.
come back stronger.
Well, this has been a truly fascinating deep dive. We've covered so much ground: digital auras, blockchain, marriage groups, even surviving cosmic events. What are your final thoughts on all of this?
I think what's most striking is just the sheer scale of their ambition.
Yeah.
These documents, they're asking us to really rethink what's possible, to imagine a future where technology isn't just about, progress for progress's sake. It's about creating a better world, a fairer world, a world where everyone has the chance to live a good life.
It's a future worth striving for, even if it seems a little far off right now. And for our listener, I think the takeaway here is we have a choice. We can just sit back and watch things happen, or we can actually try to shape the future.
And these documents, they give us a place to start. They remind us that the future isn't set in stone. It's something we build together.
Well said. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey.
My pleasure. Always happy to dive into these ideas.
And to our listener, thank you for listening. Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and keep dreaming big.